This too shall pass. But we need to get up and get going. Lack of motivation is normal, happens to all of us. But pulling ourselves out of this phase of lack of motivation calls for a technique. In this video, we will learn all the ways to cope up with lack of motivation. We will learn the things to do to develop the habit of getting motivated. So do watch this video until the end if you want to learn all the ways and techniques. Evidence shows that all of us experience lack of motivation in some time or the other in our lives. Motivation is not a straight road for anyone. Do you think that the great basketball player Kobe Bryant or the swimming champion Michael Phelps never faced lack of motivation? Not at all. Even the great Edison, who discovered the bulb, or the Wright brothers, who discovered an aircraft, did face lack of motivation a lot of times in their lives. What matters most is how did they cope with that lack of motivation? All these famous people whom we know of, who have accomplished a lot of success, also face the similar lack of motivation, be it in business, be it in their personal lives, in their career. Life was never different to any of them. But what's different is that these people pulled themselves out of this lack of motivation anyhow. So when we face this lack of motivation, it's definitely because of some failure that we encounter. And the core reason behind the lack of motivation are our subconscious negative thoughts. Our mind bombards a lot of negative thoughts like, this is not what I want. I don't want to be a failure. I don't want to be a loser. I'm not good enough. It is these negative thoughts that make us withdraw. In other words, we get into denial. Because we are not getting what we want, we simply withdraw and we do not take any action to work against these negative situations. Just because we do not want to be failing. We do not want the world to see that we failed. So the best and the most easiest way is to stop acting. And by now, I'm sure you must have understood this core reason of denial that causes this lack of motivation. We simply deny to act on the situation. Now here's a 3-step technique to work on lack of motivation. Number 1, get out of this phase of denial. Number 2, ideate the right actions that are needed in this moment. And number 3, act on those ideas, on those actions, and cherish the little success that you create to add to positivity and perseverance. Now, let's talk about this first step, getting out of the phase of denial. We need to defeat our mind by getting out of the denial phase. For that, you need to move your body. And you can do that by going for a walk, going to gym, doing exercise of any form for at least 35 minutes. It is researched, when you move your body, it produces happy hormones, which are needed for us to act. And obviously, when we make our bodies tired, our mind also stops thinking negative for some time. And in that time, we can ideate the new ideas, the new actions that we need to take to correct the situation that we are in. In that moment, we need to stop the inner critique. And we can do that by saying statements like, I can do it. I need to pull myself out of the situation. Every long journey is made up of small steps. I have to pull myself out anyhow, somehow, and make myself get going. Now this brings us to the second step. Ideate the different action needed in this present moment. Do you think Wright brothers also got that aircraft in one go? Never. They also must have felt stuck a lot of times, not knowing what the next step should be. Now here's where they were different. Now let's understand this from an analogy of children. Have you observed children while they are playing with the building blocks? Do you see them so curious and trying a lot of techniques, lot of ways to make something out of those building blocks? They relentlessly act to create something out of those building blocks. They don't even think that they're clueless of how to do next thing. They're not anxious. They're so playful. But because we've grown up in this society, we've learned this sense of cluelessness and anxiety. So the first thing that you need to tell to your own self is, there are infinite solutions to the problem that I'm in. When you say these statements to your own self, definitely that idea will strike you. Do you wonder how these creative people like poets or actors or painters or even engineers who do the problem solving, where do they get those ideas from? They also find themselves stuck at a lot of points, but suddenly the idea strikes to them and they are able to solve that problem. Yes, those fresh ideas come from within themselves. Now here comes the point number 3. Act on that idea and cherish the little success that you create so as to add positivity and perseverance. It's all about perseverance. When you take that one step, that little step towards that idea, you will create that little success. And when you get there, you need to congratulate yourself for doing that one task. Of course, miracles won't happen overnight, but that one step is a miracle in its own self, isn't it? It doesn't matter how small that step is. What matters is that you've taken that first step. And that's all. Instead of being stuck in that denial, we need to pull ourselves out of the bed. Anyhow, somehow. Have faith and create that idea, that right action which is needed in this present moment. And take those baby steps, those first steps, and start walking towards the light at the end of the tunnel. Trust me, this too shall pass, but only when we get up and get going. So do like the video, subscribe to the channel and press the notification icon so that you are intimated about our next video. Till then, good luck.